Hello. Haven't talked about books for a while, so I thought I might do that. I've gotten a lot of interesting books recently, and they're sort of inspiring me to think about new and different things. This is a book from a person who I know. It's called Wreck This Journal by Kerry Smith. And it's an interesting book because it's basically, well, let me flip through here. It's basically sort of an inspiration for taking your journal and going to new directions, trying new experiments, and kind of breaking the conventions of how you normally do things. I think it's sort of intended as a workbook, but I found in looking at it that I didn't actually want to work in it or actually to wreck it, because I think it is quite nice and nicely designed. But instead it made me think about different things that one could do with one's journal, and I recommend that one as an interesting springboard for new thoughts. And this is another book that I just received called Journal Revolution, and it's written by Linda Woods and Karen Denino, who I know from a previous book of theirs, which was sort of an interesting kind of overview of journals, which is called Visual Chronicles. And again, this has sort of lots of inspiring different directions and different ideas of things to do. I think it's less focused on drawing, honestly, than it is on sort of mixed media and type and paint and so forth. But not the kind of thing I normally do. So again, something to think about, something new and different. That's the Journal Revolution. Let's see. Here's another book called this is called the Drawing Breakthrough Book, and it is by John Hastings. And this is a book sort of about teaching yourself to draw in really fundamental ways. I think for somebody who feels insecure about drawing or wants to kind of start from the basics, that it's really very practical and step by step. It's very pointed, very focused. So for people who are thinking, oh, I can't draw, I don't know how to actually begin, I think it's a good way to start. I would then take these drawing skills and do probably more interesting things than he does in this book, but obviously that's what it's designed for, is just to get you going. As an example of things you can do that are really new and different, this book, Drawing with Imagination, here by Bert Dodson, is really an incredible book. It's first of all, I love the way that he draws, but also on every page there's another idea of things that you can do to take a little drawing and then move it into a new direction, to play with scale, to juxtapose things in interesting ways, to take ideas and take them out of your mind and put them on paper. I think for people who are interested in doing things beyond just drawing from reality, it's really terrific. It's given me a lot of new ideas, and part of my sort of thing that I've been thinking about this summer and fall is how to go beyond just drawing and recording things in my life, and to start to make things up. And this book's really fantastic in doing that. It's kind of cool because it's also designed really to be practical. It's spiral bound, like a strong workbook with a great cover, so you can really work from page after page. My son Jack also finds it really inspiring and useful, so that's a great book. This is another inspiring book that I got. It's completely empty, of course, at this point, but I plan to work in it. It was given to me by my friend Roz Stendhal. She sent it to me for inspiration for things to work differently. And what's interesting about it is it's about 8 inches tall, 3.5 inches wide. So I could use it for drawing tall buildings, for drawing landscapes. But the fact that it is a different shape and it's beautiful paper that will hold ink and watercolor really well. So think about that as something to do, draw in a different form, different shape. I also have a few new memoirs that I've gotten. This book is called Cancer Vixen. It's written by Marisa Acocella, who used to be my art director, my partner, years ago in advertising, and she's since gone on to become a cartoonist for The New Yorker. And this book is about how she developed breast cancer and how she dealt with it and the sort of horrors of it. And it's done in a comic book style, and it's sort of daunting. It's kind of gut-wrenching in a lot of places, but as an example of taking something horrible that's happened to one and turning it into art, I think it's a fine story. Another book that I also really enjoyed is this one. It's called Need More Love by Aileen Kaminsky-Crumb. And Aileen is Robert Crumb's wife, who is one of my heroes. And what she's done in this book is she's sort of described her whole life. Now, she's somebody who I think doesn't think that she draws particularly well. I think that she doesn't draw in a sort of photorealistic style, and certainly being married to Robert Crumb has got to be, constantly depressing when it comes to doing her own drawings. But I think that there's a lot of life to her drawings. She's extremely funny and tough, and gave me a lot of sort of insight into relationships and different styles of living. It's a great book to look at, and I really enjoyed it. I sat down and read it cover to cover, as did my wife, and we both found a kind of a completely new understanding of her, an understanding really of what marriage means, and again, explored through art. Here's another cool book. It's called Woody Guthrie Artworks. Now, obviously, you don't think of Woody Guthrie as somebody who draws, but he did. He was an artist in so many different forms. He wrote, a great book, Bound for Glory. He wrote, infinite songs of poetry and beauty, and but to look through this book and to see how exuberant he is in drawing, and how his drawings in a way are like his songs. They're very just natural, straightforward, untutored, but extremely expressive and human. It's interesting to look at somebody who's known for something other than drawing or that form of expression, to see how really art is a universal thing. You may be more known, you may be more sort of seasoned, taxi drivers. You may be, better known for a certain kind of thing, but I think it shows how creativity and art is a universal thing that can be expressed in so many different forms, and the fact that you're good at one thing doesn't mean you shouldn't try other things. I was also thinking about people who are in extreme situations, and I started looking at books like that. And this is one example. It's a book by a man named Alfred Kanter, who was interned in. He was a Czech artist, and when he was in his early 20s, he was in Auschwitz and several other concentration camps, and he kept this journal, and it was all destroyed. But as soon as he got out of the camps, he completely recreated it, and he redid all of these drawings in ink and watercolor. And again, even after the war, he was still living in pretty dire circumstances. But he went to such extremes to find paper and pencils and to make this stuff, and then to remake the whole thing. It's really an amazing kind of document, and worth finding if you can get an old copy of it. There's some sitting around. And just finally, this is another interesting book, one of several by May Lesser. This is called The Art of Learning Medicine. And she's a doctor's wife, but she has done several books where she went on rounds with interns, and she just recorded their lives from day to day. And then she made drawings, she made paintings, she made etchings, different kinds of prints, and just recorded the daily life in a hospital. And again, really interesting situation where you take something that's happened to you, you take an interesting place that you are, and you document it, and cumulatively, by expressing, and recording a large chunk of life, you create something that's an amazing document. But she's done several books like that, and again, her name is May Lesser. So, as I think I wrote in my blog a couple weeks ago, I've been away. I've been doing experiments of different kinds. I've had some dry patches, but I'm hoping to sort of recommit to talking to you and to sharing some of the things that I've been doing, rather than just keeping them to myself. And I hope this is useful to you, interesting to you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.